Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Raquel Muller coming at you live this morning for Thrive Thursday inside our community. As you know, I love to support mom entrepreneurs in creating the lives that they love, creating success in their business, while also showing up in a present way, in a positive energy for their families and generating the revenue and the time freedom that they would love. So, welcome, welcome. If you are watching me live for the first time, or if you're watching live right now, put a hashtag live in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, put a hashtag replay. Say hello. I would love to know that you're here and give you a shout out. All right. So, last Tuesday, I went live in my profile, which by the way, I do that every Tuesday at 11:30. Go live in my profile with some message of wisdom, inspiration, and so I on Tuesday I talked about what we're going to be talking about today, which is this whole idea of being more intentional, which is a concept that I've been really working with, practicing, getting more deep into that, being more intentional. Because here's the thing, right? We all have a lot of things that we want, but if we don't get intentional about what we're creating, we are sort of bumbling around. We're creating by default, right? And a lot of times, I hear people use the words, and I have been guilty of this too, right? Of saying, well, hopefully I can get to, go to Bali one day. Maybe we'll see. I hope, right? But here's the thing, right? People who are masters at manifesting understand that it's important to not only have the vision of what it is that you want, but also important to take certain actions and to get intentional about creating those things and taking inspired action, right? So and I talked also about the idea of how in our daily lives we can be so busy and so taken with what we're doing. The doingness becomes our master, right? That's where we hang out. But when we do that, we lose the ability to have a perspective, to reflect on whether what we're actually doing is working, or whether we're operating out of habit, out of somebody else's expectation, out of managing people's impressions of us, or whether we're doing something because it is what we truly want and what is truly going to get us to where we want to go in our life, in our different areas of life, right? Health, relationships, our work, the impact that we're making, financial freedom, etc. So I talked about how when we're in that space, we don't have access to our creativity, and we don't have access to that connection with universal energy that is always flowing through us, and it wants to connect with us. It wants to also give us all the awesome things that we want. So I offered a mantra that goes like this: that I co-create intentionally with the universe and manifest my biggest desires. I co-create intentionally with the universe and manifest my biggest desires. And so I want to give you just three simple steps that you can use to create more intentionally. Okay, so here's where you want to take out that paper and pencil and take some notes. Okay, so here's step number one to be aware of. All right, it is to realize, first of all, that you're not creating alone. So often we delude ourselves into thinking that we have to push, that we have to make things happen, that we have to hustle. And there's something to be said about working hard for what you want, right? That there is merit to that. And it's also realizing that it's not entirely us doing it. It is this creative force that lives in us, that is connecting with us, that wants to give us all the things that we want, that's also at operation here. And so the more that we connect with that and know that we're not alone, and the more that we understand that we are loved, cherished, supported, that we are supplied by the universe, by God, by source, the more ease that's going to bring into our lives. And there isn't so much of that stress and that pressure, right? And we also in that moment can accept guidance and wisdom that is only available to us when we connect with something bigger than us. Think about that. When it's just us, our cognitive abilities are finite, but there's something so much bigger at work inside of us. And if we collaborate and create along with it, everything that we do, number one, is going to be easier, it's going to be more rewarding, and it's also going to be for the higher good of everybody around us, not just for ourselves. Because sometimes we can get really single minded and, think about only what we want. And when we operate in collaboration with the universe, we're also operating for the highest good of everybody, our families, our friends, the clients that we serve, the customers that we have, our families. Everyone gets to benefit from that. And we're able to then show up in more of a spirit of service, right? And we know that when we do that and when we are grateful for what is unfolding in our lives as well, that we call in more abundance. Okay, so that is the first step to creating more intentionally. So number two is, getting, again, I talked about creating by default versus creating by design. And I often talk about the idea of creating a vision. So it's not just, I'm not just talking about goals. I'm talking about that dream that you have, that desire, making it into written form, making it into picture form, so that you can actually visualize for yourself what it is that you're moving towards in health, in relationships, in your work, in your time freedom, and in your money freedom. Where is it that you're going? Because that is what I think allows us to then be clear about what kinds of activities, what kinds of goals do we need to set and work on to get us closer to that, right? Because again, if we don't have that compass helping us, it's much more easier rather for us to get distracted or to get discouraged or to get pulled away from what's really bringing us to where we want to go. So if we want to create intentional results, we have to have a vision and lean into gratitude as we create what it is that we desire to create, right? And realizing that already we have so much wonderful stuff going on in our lives that, again, is been given to us by virtue of this amazing power that has us in a container and wants to supply all the awesome things that we desire. Okay, so that was number two, is to have a vision. And then number three is that we need to take inspired action, right? So it's not just about having the vision and seeing what you want in your mind and visualizing it. Yes, that is important. And then the next piece is taking inspired action. So what are some of the things that you are going to do? And when I say inspired, I mean, again, connecting with that broader wisdom of this universal energy, tapping into that, allowing it to guide us, and then taking actions that are consistent with creating that vision in the three-dimensional facts of our lives. So we have to show the universe that we really mean, this desire that we have and the vision that we're moving towards, that we really mean it by putting in the work, by taking intentional and inspired actions. And along with that piece, here's a bonus step, right? And the bonus step is to track the actions that you're taking and to claim your wins. So I want to make a distinction between gratitudes and wins. Gratitudes are the things that more or less happen in our lives or are present in our lives without us necessarily having to do very much to create that. Whereas wins are the things that we are helping to create by taking action. That's the kind of stuff that we feel proud of, the things that we accomplish, the way that we notice our own growth, our own progress. That is claiming our wins. And when we claim our wins, that only feeds us in understanding that we're moving in the right direction, that we're moving closer to our vision. And it reminds us that there is a force so much bigger than us at work in our lives. right? So it's not a prideful or a selfish thing. It is, again, bearing witness and honoring this force that is at work in us and through us and for us. So claim those wins, track those actions, notice the progress, and then keep repeating that process. And again, this is true for not only in our work but also in other aspects of our lives, right? Like in our parenting and in our relationships with our spouses, in our friendships, in the way that we are able to relate to friends or colleagues, right? In the way that our finances are in order or not, or are expanding for us so that we are able to buy the stuff that we want and give to the causes that we want and take time off when we want. All of those beautiful things. So those are the 3 steps. I'm going to recap them really fast for you. So first of all is realizing that you're not creating alone. You're co-creating with universal energy. Number 2 is to have a intentional vision for what it is that you want to create that encompasses all the important and key aspects of your life. And then number 3 is to take inspired action. And claiming your wins. All right. So those are the 4 steps. And if you really do want to get more intentional and you're needing some support, which we often do, because again, we are not creating alone and we can't do all of the things, right? So if you would like to learn more about how I can support you, send me a DM and we can just have an exchange. I can ask you some questions and perhaps send you more information about what are some of the ways that I could support you in creating this big bold dream that you have and the kind of fulfilling, purposeful, meaningful life that you desire. So that is my message for you today. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day and weekend. I know I'm about to. I'm about to go to my mentor's 3-day event, which she does twice a year. It's my incubator, my container where I get to lean into my dream even more and be surrounded in support in that event. It's really, really beautiful. So I want to help provide that for you as well. So let me know if this is something that is resonating with you. Send me a DM. And until I see you again, remember that a mom is a woman first.